Yeah, good morning and welcome in to another Wealth Guardians radio show. I'm Doug Ray. I'm your host, and with me is Brice Payne, and it's October, Brice.
October in the Wealth Guardians radio studio. What a wonderful weekend it is going to be. I can feel it in my bones. I can feel it on my TV screen. There's going to be a lot of good football this weekend. And Doug, how are you doing?
Good. I love October. You know, the weather turns cool, it gets crisp, and football.
My favorite two holidays are this month.
Yeah, your Broncos are doing good.
My Broncos are doing good. Air Force Academy is doing good. I always root for them. CU, of course, is doing terribly, my alma mater. But Doug, your Pirates, how are they doing?
Pirates are turning it around. They won ugly last week, but they got a big game with Tulane. This weekend, so right. We'll see.
Power to you. Wake is doing good, so a lot of local teams doing good. Boy, State came back and
how about
whooped Clemson.
Yeah,
that was a surprise.
Clemson fell to 25.
That was interesting. I always pull for Clemson, but I'm not going to root against any North Carolina team ever. So
and our Panthers are doing surprisingly well.
How about that?
Yeah, we lost Christian McCaffrey for a few weeks.
That breaks my heart.
And J.C. Horn, he's out for quite a while with a broken foot. I mean, nobody even hit him.
Yeah.
Did you see that play?
I did. Yeah, very strange.
Yeah.
But, McCaffrey, I've got his dad's signed jersey in my closet
because
really? He was a Bronco.
That's right, he was.
So I grew up watching him and Elway throw to each other. All right. Well, Doug, we've got a really good show here today. We are going to talk about what should you put off and what should you not put off when talking about retirement planning. These are some probably concepts that people have in the back of their heads, and they really haven't formulated them into quite concise questions. So we're going to talk about that and start some conversations around how to plan for retirement planning even before you see an advisor, perhaps.
Yeah.
And before we do that, of course, we want to give a shout out to all the men and women in uniform out there who serve our great country. Doug and I salute you. Thank you very much for everything that you do, just like we do every week here. So, Doug, you want to get started on this?
Yeah, this first one, this is an interesting one, deferring taxes.
Okay.
And, should you or should you not? We just had a recent case really just around that. So deferring taxes, folks, that's like money in your IRA, your 401k. You're not paying taxes on it. It's growing. Eventually, you will pay taxes on it. Other ways to defer taxes is in an investment called a non-qualified annuity. Well, we have a client that has had a nice return in a non-qualified annuity. And the way the IRS views that is that whenever you start to cash out or take income from a non-qualified annuity, the gain comes out first and is taxable as income. Well, unfortunately, in this situation, our client passed away, so his widow got the death benefit, or she could have had two options. She could have carried forward the contract and continued to defer the taxes. But in this case, with consultation with her CPA and the upcoming proposed Biden tax law changes, basically they decided to go ahead and bite the bullet, cash out, and pay the taxes, which may be a very good choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you can also, in a situation like that, there's another option to do with an annuity, which would be to, it's not really rolling it over, but it has the same aspect of rolling it over, 1035 in it to another annuity and defer the taxes that way as well. Is that correct? That's
exactly right. And now with the 401ks and the IRAs, eventually taxes are going to get paid one way or the other on those things. Or you could do a Roth conversion.
There you go.
You're still going to pay tax to do that. And by the way, little known in the new Biden tax plan is the elimination of Roth conversions. So, folks, we're doing a tax workshop this coming Tuesday, October the 5th at 6:30. We'll be talking about current tax code and things you can take advantage of, and we're also going to sprinkle in some of these things about the proposed Biden tax proposals if they're put into place. So give us a call at 336-391-3409 and register for that workshop. And then you can also register online at thewealthguardians.com. Just click the events tab.
And Doug, we just had on Thursday, we usually do these in seminars of groups of two. And so we've got the one still coming up on October 5th at 6:30 at the Broyhill Building in Clemens. But we just had one on Thursday that was packed, and that went really well. But there's still slots available, some spots available here for this upcoming Tuesday. So if you folks were not able to attend Thursdays, by all means, you can still call us or go online and register for that one. And that is a huge thing that you just mentioned, Doug, about eliminating altogether or even limiting. Right now, Roth conversions are unlimited.
Yep.
You could do whatever amount, which is different, obviously, than a contribution. So, folks, if you, Doug and I always are big on Roth conversions, but if that goes away, that's a huge planning tool that might no longer be at somebody's disposal.
The government needs your money, folks.
Yep.
They need your money. Hey, Brice, the next one's pretty cool. I'm going to let you do this one. Eliminating debt.
Eliminating debt. So is it good to put off or is it bad to put off? And now it depends. There's different kinds of debt. Obviously, if you have something with a high interest rate, like a credit card debt, you want to get rid of that as soon as possible. If you have something that might be a lower rate, such as a home equity line of credit or a mortgage where you're talking about 2, 3, 4%, then it might not be a good idea to pay that off. There's two ways to look at it. You can look at it from purely the monetary standpoint, which is how you and I tend to look at things, being financial planners. And we can do the math and tell you don't want to pay this mortgage off early because it's only a 2.5% or a 3% rate that you have on it. And if you invest the monies, that could be growing at 5 or 6%, or even higher for that matter. So it wouldn't make sense in the long term monetarily to pay that off. But there's a subjective way of looking at it too, and a lot of Dave Ramsey fans out there are big on that. I just want to be debt free. I don't care if it means that I've got $20,000 less when I'm 80 years old. I want to be debt free now just so I can get that monkey off my back. That's something that's purely up to you. We just want to be able to present the numbers to you, and you make that decision based on real numbers.
You know, we sat down with a couple this week that had a situation where they had $16,000 left on their mortgage, but yet they had $33,000 in credit card debt. So the credit card debt's 16, 17, 18%.
Isn't that amazing?
And their mortgage is at, I think they said 4%. Why in the world would they not refinance their house at 2% whatever and roll that credit card debt into the new mortgage and then focus on paying it down?
That's because if you're paying, say, $1,000 a month off to the credit card, only so much of that, maybe $600, $700 or so, is going to the actual principal that you have on the credit card. But if you were to take that same $1,000 and pay it off to the mortgage, a much larger chunk of that, $900,
yes.
$800 or so, is going to the principal. So make your money work smart for you. Pay those high interest rates off first before the low interest rates. But so eliminating debt, is it good or bad to do? We can easily do that math for you as part of our financial planning process. We do that with everybody if they have debt. And that's a great one to consider. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
You know, I think Dave Ramsey would be proud of us for that little.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. You're welcome.
All right, next one. Setting up legal and estate documents. Is it bad to put that off?
It's not bad to put it off. I think almost putting off anything is never good. But, Doug, you and I have seen on multiple occasions where somebody has come in and they've paid thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars for estate planning when they didn't really need it in the first place. That's different than a will.
Yeah, it is, and I'll my view on this is it's bad to put it off. I had my best friend passed away from a heart attack. He was 49 years old and owned a Remax agency, and he and his wife were in the process of getting their wills and all that stuff done, but hadn't gotten it done yet. And let me tell you, it was an absolute mess. So please, folks, don't put this stuff off. It's too important. You know, God didn't promise us tomorrow, so make sure you protect your family. Yeah,
it can be I know it's time consuming. You have to go in multiple meetings. There's a lot of documents to sign. There's a lot of questions to answer, not unlike financial planning. But when you've got it done, and as I said before, you've got that monkey off your back and you've got that set in stone, that is a good thing to have had completed, because that just makes life a lot easier for those. If you were to leave early, that you're leaving behind, it makes life for them a lot easier. But estate planning is wills and trusts are part of that, but estate planning as a whole can be more complex. And you want to make sure you've got the right lawyer for that. Somebody who's not just trying to get you to get all these documents prepared just so they can make more money. Like I said, Doug, we've seen a lot of people come through here who have had much more complex estate planning done than they really needed to do. And you want to make sure that you get done what you need to get done, but you don't need to go beyond that step necessarily. But no, it's not good to put that off. Doug, the next one.
Well, why don't we do our trivia?
Oh, let's do our trivia. Look at the time. Boy,
Yeah.
Where does it go? All right. Doug, this weekend, you and I are going to raise a pint in toast of this man. On September 27th, 1722, this founding father was born. You know, he was never a president, but he was the leader of a civil disobedient group called the Sons of Liberty. He was the 4th governor of Massachusetts. He served in the Continental Congress, and he helped draft the Articles of Confederation, and he attended Harvard College, and he was the main proponent of the concept of individual liberties. So, who was this founding father?
I think I know.
All right, very good. Folks, stick around through the break. We will be back in just a few minutes and give you the answer to that. We're going to see if we stump Doug this week. Hang tight. And welcome back to the Wealth Guardians radio show. Folks, thank you for sticking around through the break. This is Brice Payne in the producer's chair, and right alongside me in the most important chair in the Wealth Guardian studio is Doug Ray, founder and CEO of the Wealth Guardians. Folks, let me ask you a question. You've been sitting here listening to us, if not just this Saturday, many Saturdays. And at some point, you're going to end up asking yourself or realizing that you are only a few years away from retirement. And then you're going to realize, you know what? I've been listening to Doug and Brice for a long time, and I have never actually called them up to sit down and get my financial plan done to see when I can retire or what retirement looks like for me. Well, if you are that person, if I just described you, I want you to pick up the phone and call us at 336-391-3409. That's 336-391-3409. There is no better time than the present. I think somebody once said that. We're going to offer you a no-cost, no-obligation second opinion and review on your current portfolio. Whether you already have a financial advisor that you know and work with, we can just tell you whether or not there's some improvements to be made to your portfolio, or if you've never had an advisor at all and you're close to retirement, then I really encourage you to come in and talk to us. Again, 336-391-3409. There is no cost and no obligation other than your time of sitting down with us to see how we might be able to improve your retirement outlook. You can also visit us on our website, thewealthguardians.com. Now, before we get to the trivia question and see if we stump Doug, every once in a while we do our weekly website highlight. So referring again to thewealthguardians.com, I want you to go to our homepage and you scroll over the Media Center tab and click on Blog. And there you can see various topics that we've written on, including, here's just some of the names of the topics that we've got there that you can read on. 5 big problems to solve before you retire. 3 basic retirement questions to ask yourself. 12 reasons you could go broke in retirement, and there's many, many more. It's very easy to do. You can pick one out once a week and read it, and as one person once said, if you're not careful, you might learn something. So we're going to get back to our trivia question now. And Doug, it's time to raise a toast to this gentleman who on September 27th, 1722, was born. He was a founding father. He was never president, but we all know his name. He was a leader of the civil disobedience group, the Sons of Liberty. He was the 4th governor of Massachusetts. He served in the Continental Congress. He helped draft the Articles of Confederation. He attended Harvard College, and he was the main proponent of the concept of individual liberties. Who am I referring to? He was a signer of the Declaration of Independence.
Well, you gave a nice tip.
Uh-huh.
It's October. Oktoberfest.
Nothing gets by Doug, folks.
So would it be Samuel Adams?
There you go. I don't know how you figured that one out. Cheers to you, Doug, and cheers to everybody else out there got that right. And here is this. I found this interesting. I had to do a little bit of research on this, but here's a quote of his. Among the natural rights of colonists are these: first, a right to life; secondly, to liberty; and thirdly, to property. And he called these the first laws of nature. Does that sound familiar to you? Mm-hmm. We have the right to life and to liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, folks. He is the quoter of one of the, not quoter, he quoted that beforehand, and that ended up going right into our Constitution at the very beginning.
Yep.
Very good. All right. Well, if you got that out there, folks, Doug and I are going to raise a toast to you as well here on this beautiful fall afternoon. It's a perfect time for something hoppy there. So we're going to go back to what we were talking about, and what should you put off and what should you not put off when planning for retirement. And we already talked about deferring taxes, and is that good to put off or not put off, eliminating debt, setting up legal and estate documents. The next one we're going to talk about is delaying the start of your Social Security. Is it good to put that off, or is it not good to put that off? And Doug, before I'll let you talk about that, but I want to clarify that there is a separation in the concept between when you file for Social Security and when you retire. And I say that might sound like of course there's a separation of those, Brice. Well, a good number of the people that we talk to when we start doing some financial planning for them, if we have figured out what is the most advantageous way for them to file for Social Security, and we're telling them you want to delay until age 70, and we'll show you the reasons why, they think that means that we're telling them to work until age 70. That is not what we're saying. So, Doug, is it a good idea to delay the start of Social Security or to get it as soon as you can? Not talking about retirement.
Well, our favorite answer to most of these questions is it depends. And with this question, it really does depend on a lot of variables. It all rolls around. Do you need the money when you retire? If you do, go get it. What's your health like? What's your life expectancy? Do you expect to make it into your 80s? And maybe then you should wait till 70 to collect your Social Security. Because I tell you what, folks, the delayed credits and on top of that, the cost of living adjustments really make a difference between age 62 and 70. Now, this year, it looks like we're going to get a 6% cost of living adjustment.
Hallelujah.
So you add that to an 8% delayed credit, you got a 14% income increase. Now, case history here. Tuesday night, I was working with clients, and this was their third meeting. And our third meeting process is when we start laying out the retirement plan. We start working on our big screen on the software. We make a lot of what-if adjustments. And one of their what-ifs was to adjust Social Security. In our plan, we had them delaying till 70. They said, okay, what if we took it at 65? Mm-hmm. So we made that what-if adjustment.
Very easy to do.
Very easy to do. Now, most people come into that concept thinking, the sooner I get it, the more money I'm going to have at the end. Well, in this situation, if they delayed till 70, by the time they hit 100, they'd have $4 million left over. If they took it at 65, they would only have $438,000 left over. Now that's dramatic.
That is a dramatic case.
Is not normally that dramatic, but in just about every single case I have seen, it pays to delay taking Social Security.
So you mentioned something there about if you're going to live longer than 80. So what Doug is referring to in that is what's called the break-even point. Mm-hmm. If you take your Social Security whenever you retire, say you retire at 62 or 65 or whenever, and you file for Social Security right then, you're getting a lesser amount on a monthly basis, but you're getting it sooner. So that train starts heading down the tracks and it gets going faster and faster over time. But if you wait until 70 to file for Social Security and you funded your own retirement for a couple of years, you still retired at the same point, well, that train's going all the much faster. Yes, it left the station a lot later, but it's going faster. And usually that break-even point of your accumulated benefits, you will have broken even and gotten the same amount of benefits around age 80. Sometimes it's 79, sometimes it's 81 or 82, but somewhere in that ballpark. So if you wait, then that just adds more and more money to your accounts over time. And Doug, the other reason that people want to file early is because they just want to get it. Mm-hmm. Even if they don't need it, they feel like if I delay, who knows what will happen to Social Security, right, and it might not exist. I really discourage anybody from making a decision on whether or not to file for Social Security based on that concept. Doug and I can pretty much assure you, based on the nature of politics, Social Security will still be there years from now. Wouldn't you agree, Doug?
Totally agree.
Okay. So it's a great question there. Delaying the start of your Social Security, it depends, but more often than not, it does make sense to delay it if you can fund your own retirement for a while. The next one we're going to talk about, Doug, is getting a plan, period. Getting a retirement plan. Is it good to put it off? Yeah, sure. Go ahead and put that off until you're 80 or so, long after you're retired. What's your thoughts on that, Doug?
Well, we tell everybody if you're 5 years away from retirement, you need to come see us and get a plan put together. But honestly, if you haven't put a plan together and you're already retired, it's not too late to start now. Everybody needs a plan. You need a written retirement plan, regardless of what stage of retirement you're in. And, obviously it's better to do things early than late. In our first meeting, we have a question we ask everybody, and that question goes something like this. Knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently with your money?
Right.
And invariably, almost everybody says, I would have started saving earlier or saved more or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yes, obviously you want to plan as soon as you can. So come and see us. Come and get that plan going. And if you've already retired and you don't have a plan, come and see us. Let's put a plan together for you. And if you do have a plan, come and get a second opinion. Every week we got people coming through our door wanting a second opinion on what they got.
Absolutely.
It's free. There's no obligation. So
other than your time and your gas money to get to our office. But Doug, when you talk about planning, this has always struck me as humorous. Retirement lasts for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Whenever you retire, retirement is going to last for the rest of your life. It is complicated. Tax laws change in retirement. Your costs, your expenses, they adjust over the years from retirement. You might spend more on healthcare and less on travel as the years go on. You don't go into something like that, a 20 or a 30-year plan, or stage of your life without having a plan. And you have brought up this concept. If you were to go to Disneyland, would you go and you're going to grab the kids and maybe the grandkids and you're going to go down there for 4 or 5 days? Would you have a plan on where you're staying and when you're getting there and what kind of tickets you're getting and where you're going to stand in line first? Or are you just going to go down there and wing it? You're going to put together a plan. Joy, our office manager here, she went down with her family a couple of years ago, and she has this full itinerary, which I still have in my office, and I want to put this up on a slideshow for our clients at one time. It's 3 pages long on what their 4-day agenda was going to be down at Disneyland. I mean, it was to the T. This is where we're having lunch. This is what time we're having lunch. She was meticulous, and I would like to think that's because she spent a lot of years around you, Doug, and has seen the importance of planning. But if you take that kind of time and consideration into planning for a Disney trip, why on earth wouldn't you spend a couple of visits with a financial planner to make sure that you're not making any unreversible mistakes in retirement, something that's the stage of life that's going to last you the rest of your life?
Totally agree. And, she probably one of the best logistics experts I've ever seen with that diagram.
Yeah, that was great.
Folks, let me remind you, we have a tax workshop coming up Tuesday, October the 5th.
Speaking of planning, tax planning is part of retirement planning.
Absolutely. And some of you still have a couple more weeks to file if you extended. Anyway, it's October 5th, Tuesday evening, 6:30, right here in the Broy Hill. Call us at 336-391-3409 and register, or go online at thewealthguardians.com and register. I'm going to be talking about the current tax code we have, and I'm going to be talking about what Biden is proposing. We'll do a little compare and contrast and so forth. I know you've heard it's only going to raise taxes on people making more than $400,000 a year. That is as far from the truth as you've ever seen, and I'll prove it to you. So give us a call, 336-391-3409, and I'll see you Tuesday night. Brice, that wraps up another show. Have a great weekend. I hope your Broncos win, my Packers win, my Pirates win, my Panthers win.
And see you in Air Force Academy. Doug, you have a great weekend as well. Everybody else out there, Doug and I hope your teams win as well this weekend. You take care. We'll see you here next week.